Hey, John.
Hey, Eric. Happy Christmas. Almost Merry New Year.
Yeah, how's your holidays been?
Surprisingly busy and stupendously cold.
It has
Um,
been a little chilly, uncharacteristically snowy here.
yes. This is not why I live in Oregon. But,
Says the guy from Alaska.
well, do I live in Alaska anymore? Yeah. So, no, we had a couple inches, well, probably 3 inches, maybe twice. I don't know, because it seemed like it mostly melted off. And
Yeah.
anyway, it's all good. I've been very much enjoying taking some time, a little bit of downtime. A little bit of work, but not much. And I got all my stuff that I wanted to done before Christmas, mostly, and had a good Christmas with the family. Something that I did that I said I was going to do last week, and I actually did, was I set my alarm for 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve and got up and watched the launch of the Webb telescope.
Hours later, I saw your tweet. I'll just put it that way.
Uh-huh. No, actually my mother and my younger boy got up and watched it with me too.
Oh, cool.
And then after, we took, it was about an hour. So it was, from 4 o'clock, got downstairs and put it on the TV, and we just did the, NASA TV.
Right.
And then I think we were all back in bed by 5 for another few hours of sleep. But
Yeah.
I would say it was a bit anticlimactic, a little bit, in the sense that I think that the SpaceX launches have kind of ruined me a little bit. They're so
they've
produced.
upped the game.
And yeah, they've got video of everything. They've got cameras on the actual rocket,
Right.
like as it's going up. And this did not have many live cameras. And it was all overcast. So like within seconds of launch,
Right.
it was through the cloud cover, and then they basically cut to animated, artist rendition of what was happening.
What should be happening? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had the little dials
Okay.
at the bottom of the screen that showed the velocity and the altitude and that kind of stuff. But you're like, I'm looking at a computer rendering.
Yeah.
They did have one bit at the end when the actual, I think it was, well, when this telescope itself separated from the booster rocket, they had video of that. It was pixelated. It wasn't great
Right.
quality, but you could actually see the telescope, drifting away, and so that was cool. I was glad we stayed at least through that. But anyway,
Okay.
I was gonna say we could throw in the notes here. NASA has a website up that is where is Webb? But it has it has a McDonald's reference in here, I think. Sorry. So they have the hot side and the cold side. The hot stays hot and the cold stays cold. But anyway, so yeah, it's got some live stats. So it's currently 420,000 miles away from Earth, about 478,000 miles to go. So it's not quite halfway there. And oh yeah, look at that. It's 46.78% there.
Cool.
And then they have the temperature on the hot side, which is at 47 degrees Fahrenheit. And the temperature on the cold side, which is minus 229 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's a little chilly.
Yep, a little bit different. And then they've got the different, steps that they're taking, and little mini videos of what's supposed to go on. But the videos are, it's not video.
Yeah.
It's artist rendition.
Right.
But anyway, it'll be cool. I think it is 30 days to L2 insertion. Well, 29 days from launch.
So in a similar vein, and unfortunately slightly anticlimactic, my Van Gogh, my Something Fun, Van Gogh Portland that I did a while back. We went to that this week. I think we went Monday. We went luckily our tickets were during the break in the storms.
Okay.
So we were able to make it downtown Portland. And I would say that if you were a fan of Van Gogh's paintings, which I very much am, it was totally worth it. My kids and the rest of the family, my wife liked it. The rest of the family, it was less interesting than they thought. Because what it was, and this is different than I had pictured it, was you went into this room, and it was a huge room.
This was down at the Expo Center, right? Or
at the convention center. Yeah. Center. It was about, I would say, maybe 30 feet tall walls and probably 100 plus feet, 120, 150 feet width, and probably 60, 70 feet, depth. So you're in a box, basically.
Okay.
And the walls are projecting all around you and on the floor.
Okay.
And I had expected that you would go into multiples of those type rooms and see different parts of his life. What it was, you went into that room with a crowd of other people, and that's why it was timed. They only let so many people in, everything. And you stood or sat in that room for 40 minutes as it cycled through the entire projection. So it was...
So kind of like a 3D in a different dimension movie.
Yeah, it was kind of like a movie that was... There wasn't a lot of... They had some sayings that he had said over his life. They had some of his correspondence with his brother that would come up on the walls and some of the things about him. And then it would show... And it would, it would spin into different paintings of his, and then different styles. And then there was one where they showed all his self-portraits, all around the whole room. So it was actually, it was really cool if you like Van Gogh. But when you mentioned anticlimactic on the Webb telescope, it was a little bit of that for me, because you walked through this first part, which kind of had a bunch of stuff that talked about his history and his life, and then you went into the big room, and then you went into the gift shop, and then you were done. And I was like, I kind of was hoping there'd be multiples of those rooms. If they could have split those up over multiple, instead of having you sit in that one room for 40 minutes, and maybe do 10 minutes in each room, because once it hit the end, it cycled. It just went back to the beginning of where but it was cool. So that's one of the things I did I did over the last week. So there's my follow-up.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if it's still going on at the moment, but down at the Portland Art Museum, they had a Egypt exhibit running a few weeks ago, and that was shockingly cool. So in the other direction, my wife and I just had we had a couple hours to spare at some point. This is when I took that day off and was down in downtown Portland. And, we kind of had a couple hours before we had to pick the kids up from school. And so we went to the art museum, and that was fabulous. Anyway, if it's still going on, it's worth it. It's worth a trip.
Maybe we'll have to check that out. We're looking for something to do tomorrow. Before the kids start going back to school.
Well, because I don't know, when you talk about Van Gogh, like, I love going to museums, but I want to kind of go at my own pace,
Yeah.
And read or kind of examine stuff. And I'm sure that I do a different thing than what other people will do, but I don't know, I find some of that stuff just fascinating.
Yeah.
So, hey, big news in the King household.
And
we got a new car.
Like you talked about on the web, on the podcast,
did I mention
right?
it on the podcast?
The plug-in hybrid.
We did.
Did you end up getting?
We did.
Is it at your house?
It is at my house.
Oh,
it is at my house.
I have to come check it out.
It is plugged in. Yes. So, yeah, no, it's the worst possible time to buy a car because they have, massive dealer, what do they call it? Additional dealer markup.
Yeah.
That is completely non-negotiable at the moment because basically you're begging for cars just given the supply chain and the chip shortage and, and anyway, so whatever. It is what it is, but we have been actually not going very far because it's been snowy and icy and not really driving.
Right.
But we're very excited. My wife's particularly excited. It's amazing. It's amazing what the new tech is. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. I'm a little bit jealous. I don't know. I got 16,000 miles to go in mine though before I do anything. But but I don't know what else I was going to say on that.
Well, that's exciting. What color is it?
It is silver.
Okay.
It is silver.
There was only one wrong answer, so good.
White. Yeah. No, it's all good. What did we do though? I went ahead. I mean, I don't know. So this is the first new car I've ever bought, and I'm not a young man, but I decided that given the level of just crap in there, I would go ahead and splurge for the extended warranty. That's the main, did I really just do that? Yes, I did. Because it's a Hyundai, and Hyundai has a really good warranty already. They're 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper, and 10 years, 100,000 miles drivetrain, including the battery stuff, which is, I think, worrisome for the hybrid, especially since they're new to this game. But so I went ahead and bought the 10-year warranty. Okay. I'm excited. I'm kind of excited that I shouldn't have to worry about a thing for that car.
10 years.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
That's kind of on my list of, and I'm just realizing that I have some friends who are going to totally hate me for this. I didn't even pop the hood. I haven't even looked at the engine yet. Not even at all. So I don't know. I don't know what that makes me. Something else, but
makes you occupied with other things.
That's right. But I will also say that thanks to another friend of ours, a friend who wrote a script to scrape the Walmart site, my kids have a PS5, and they have not put it down pretty much since Christmas. So that's been, I think that's been the good gift of the holiday season. So
yeah, fun.
Anyway, it's been fun. It's been good. All right. Cool. Any last stuff from you? Intro?
Well, I guess with all my not being occupied with work and lazing about, I am now halfway through book 5 of The Wheel of Time. I started rereading. Well, not necessarily rereading. I am trying really hard to do the John King audiobook while I'm busy with my hands. Cleaning stuff around the house. I've been listening. I'm halfway through book 5. I still do listen to it at a faster speed, though. I just can't listen to it at 1x speed. Depending on if I'm trying to read along while I listen to it or not, I'm either at 1.2 or 1.4 speed.
Okay.
And it's working for me. I'm actually enjoying it.
I'm glad it's working for you. Actually, the boys and I finished book 2 earlier tonight. So, there has not been a ton of listening time, but very much enjoying it.
Cool.
Good.
Back to the real world starts next week, so I will enjoy the rest of this week and the rest of my vacation.
No, it's good. It's good. I just wish it was a little bit warmer so that there's things I would like to do outside given the a length of time, but instead I am just been in the house. Because it's cold out there. Anyway.
Yep.
At least this week. All right. I threw one thing in follow-up here. Well, I guess it's maybe two links in the but about the Log4j continuation.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Gift that keeps on giving. That's right. So, and I got a bunch of the links this week, my links this week, from Last Week in Security, a newsletter that I signed up for. And because I have not spent much time on the Twitters or either. But anyway, so the first thing here is a comment that China's internet security regulator has disciplined Alibaba Group Holdings cloud computing services for failing to first report to the government a critical vulnerability in Apache's Log4j software that has alarmed the cybersecurity community. AKA, they told the Apache Foundation about the bug before they told the Chinese government. So the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology is suspending work with Alibaba Cloud as a cybersecurity threat intelligence partner for 6 months because the company did not immediately report a severe bug. This is a quote here. Did not immediately report a severe bug in the widely used logging software to the government agency. The ministry also said it would reassess whether to resume the partnership at that time based on measures Alibaba has taken to correct the problem. So there was a comment in there that companies are encouraged but not required to report to the government first, but perhaps the word encouraged doesn't mean what we think it means.
It's the translation to English lost something in translation.
Perhaps. So that was the first one, and then the second one is that a whole bunch of countries, Five Eyes, I guess, but the CISA, the FBI, the NSA, the Australian Cybersecurity Center, the Canadian Center for Cybersecurity, the Computer Emergency Response Team New Zealand, the New Zealand National Cybersecurity Center, and the United Kingdom's National Cybersecurity Center. And in the article, they literally list out all those acronyms every time they basically refer to the authors of this. And so I was picturing whoever was writing the intro to this, post and like cutting and pasting the
macro. Say that enough times, you get a macro for each
text one. Expander. Yeah. Anyway, so they have jointly issued a what did they call it? I guess more than a press release, mitigation strategy suggestions. I guess it's under an alert. So, but anyway, the link that we'll put in the follow-up here, it has, a number of essentially collated links and suggestions for steps to take, etc. But if you look in here, you literally can see I don't have like a word count on what I've got selected, but it's it's half a line width of uppercase acronyms for who they do, and they do it a bunch. Sorry.
So this link is more for John was entertained by this than actual information.
I'm sorry that it was actually, I'm trying to put it here for information, but that really, really entertained me. And I don't know why that's such a small thing. But, okay, hold on. So in the spirit of continuing with the humorousness there, so there are 23 references on this page to CISA, the FBI, NSA, ACSC, CCCS, CERT New Zealand, or CERT NZ, NZNCSC, and NCSC-UK. There are 23 instances of that phrase on this page, which I find, I don't know, I just found that hilarious. But there's good data here. There's good data.
Okay.
That's not the point. This is just a follow-up thing. I'm sorry. I'm also perhaps a little giddy and out of my normal groove too. But anyway, so check that out if you are interested. I don't know. I don't know what to say out here other than, they have a bunch of links. This is the other thing I guess I found funny about this or good about this. They have a bunch of links to external sources for things like how to detect using PowerShell, how to detect using canary tokens, how to use Burp Suite Pro, how to do Nmap scripting, blah, blah, blah. So there's, it's a bunch of external links to GitHub repos and other blog posts and stuff like that. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I bet you that many of these people are like, happy they got a call out. They got a shout out from all five eyes. There you go.
Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was good. So, but yeah, don't say those acronyms too many times too fast. So,
all right.
How about a topic?
Like you, I have not really been paying a whole lot of close attention to things, but I do have a holiday-related article. Shutterfly. You're aware of what Shutterfly is?
I am.
Snapfish,
Photo.
Tiny Prints. There's a bunch of them. A lot of these are things that people used probably, or a service that is popularly used, especially around the holidays, to send Christmas cards. Right, mm-hmm. You post a bunch of pictures and to the website, design a card, then they'll mail the card out, or they'll mail you a pack and let you mail the card out, whatever you want to do. They were hit by a ransomware attack, and so if you have used one of those services, it is possible that your information has been either stolen and then encrypted, or this is the, hey, we stole this stuff and we're going to make it public unless you give us however many million in Bitcoin they seem to think they want. So if you have used Shutterfly or one of the similar type services, your information may be out there. One of the nice things about Shutterfly, and it was in their public release statement, was that it said that they do not store credit card, financial account information, or social security numbers as part of anything that they have. So that wouldn't have been impacted. It would have been probably your pictures or your address, your contact list, anything that you uploaded to them could possibly be part of that. So this is more kind of like it's everywhere. And for me to also to drive home the point that it is everywhere, yesterday in the mail, the snail mail, the post office showed up in my mailbox that I walked out to the center and opened my little mailbox, was 3 letters to my wife and my 2 daughters. Our eye doctor suffered which is just a local small business. They suffered some kind of, they explained it. I read through the letter and nothing jumped out at me. They didn't have any financial information, but it did say my prescriptions from my family, our address, stuff that's already out there, appears to have been taken. So it wasn't a ransomware attack. It was just a data breach.
Interesting.
And so it is another reminder that if it's online, it's public. And if even small businesses, everybody has stuff, everybody does everything online. Over the weekend, over this past week, I signed a couple DocuSign documents for my tax guy. So everything is out there and online, and at some point it's probably going to be public. So inadvertently or not.
Yes,
That's not a happy thought.
Yes, it is. No, it's not a happy thought.
But there you go. That's
It reminds me though of something to even think about just in your general work and in your personal life as well. But imagine this text you're sending, if it being or email message or Teams message or whatever. Imagine it being read out loud in the courtroom or in a courtroom.
Yeah.
Like that's like just okay. And in front of, it's a good idea to be above board. I don't know. I view that similar to like dishonesty or something like that, I guess, a little bit. Expect that anything you say and do can be, especially digitally, can come back at you. And if you're talking about somebody behind their back, or if you're saying if you're saying or doing anything that you wouldn't want to be public, A, you should probably be thinking about that regardless, but B, be careful. So I don't know. Yeah, that's not a happy thought. Not a happy thought.
Between the letters in the mail and that kind of Christmassy related, holiday related link, that's what caught my eye this week.
All right.
For the reminder.
Well, I'm going to do a poor job of segueing to this, but my first article is about people using a breach, but for a different purpose, right? This is for the purpose of making money in the stock market with non-public information. So this article was released, a few days before Christmas, but this was about, it says U.S. charges former GRU officer with hacking and stock market trading scheme. But these guys basically hacked into, what did they call them? They called them SEC filing agents. So, basically these guys used phishing attacks and gained access to internal networks at SEC filing agents, who basically assist publicly traded companies to file the appropriate forms with the SEC as required. But that basically means that they're getting internal to the company financial information that's about to be disclosed publicly, but before it's being disclosed publicly. And it says that they did that on, let's see, I haven't talked about the people yet, but it says the DOJ said that during their attacks, Yermakov, Rumianchev, and Klyushi stole documents for hundreds of companies listed on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, such as Tesla, IBM, Snap, Box, Kohl's, Datadog, Nanometrics, the Nielsen Company, SNC Technologies, Capstead Mortgage, and Nevro Corp. That went relatively small pretty fast, but quote is, they allegedly disseminated the stolen information to other investors through their M13 front company, which also provided investment management services, and asked for 60% of any profits the insider information yielded. So the group is suspected of having earned tens of millions of US dollars from illegally trading based on the stolen information. Hard to track, though. So let me go back to the top of the article. So the 5 suspects were named. Let's see. The U.S. Department of Justice charged 5 Russian nationals, including a former officer of Russia's GRU military intelligence agency, with hacking 2 SEC filing agents, stealing non-public information, then sharing the stolen data with partners for the purpose of making beneficial trades ahead of time. And so going on down, it says that In particular, this Yermakov left the GRU and since 2018 began working at M13, a Moscow-based IT company that provided IT penetration testing and advanced persistent threat emulation services, and that behind the cover of this front company, they breached 2 U.S. companies that operated as these SEC agents. So the charges were only unsealed after one of the men, Klyushin, was arraigned in front of a judge after having been extradited from Switzerland. So he was arrested in March, evidently extradited, and then had the charges unsealed. So the 4 other suspects remain at large, and but I thought that was an interesting article. My second one is about building management systems. And
so these are, by building management systems, you mean like things that control tall buildings, like all the lights on all the floors and the HVAC and
exactly
all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Okay. And motion detectors and things like that. So this is, what was the name of this? The firm that has the software is called KNX. So it says it's a building automation system widely deployed in Europe. And this article implied that they don't really know yet who and why this has been happening, but that it has seeming to it's happened a number of times, especially recently, and yet they're not being particularly smart about the attackers are not being particularly smart about what they're doing. So there's opportunity for this to get particularly worse. In the sense that the hackers, so for it says here, a building automation engineering firm experienced a nightmare scenario. It suddenly lost contact with hundreds of its building automation system devices, light switches, motion detectors, shutter controllers, and others, after a cyber attack locked the company out of the building automation systems it constructed for an office building client. But the what they did was they locked down the devices with it says a digital security key. I'm assuming some sort of certificate. And that the engineering for the security firm basically reverse engineered some of the devices to extract the key that was used and in order to re-enable the system. So I don't know. That tells me a couple of things. That tells me that it's not a well-designed system, because it said that all the devices that they reverse engineered used the same key. So that must mean that it wasn't a public-private key system. Like you would think that the controlling software would have one key and each of the devices would have a different key, but evidently not. And that, or at least that the hackers didn't do that. Anyway, there was a lot of stuff in here that didn't quite ring as if the security system was set up to be actually secure once things were put in place. But the thing here, so here's a couple other things. What was interesting is the attackers here misused what was supposed to be a security feature. This is a quote. A programming password, the BCU key, that would lock out an adversary from manipulating the components. So basically, there must be some sort of symmetric key there, or it says password, but so...
Okay.
Essentially a pre-shared secret. And then for its part, KNX warns in its product support that the BCU key security feature should be deployed carefully for the engineering tool software. Use this option with care. If the password is lost, those devices shall be returned to the manufacturer. Forgotten BCU keys in the devices cannot be changed or reset externally because this would make the protection in ETS meaningless. So that's what the hypothetically said. But but the building the management firm said that, the vendors actually don't. Let's see what it says. But in reality, most manufacturers of those devices aren't able to retrieve their pilfered BCU keys. So the German engineering firm initially went to its device vendors for help, but the vendors informed the firm they were unable to access the keys.
So you spent a whole lot of money on building, making yourself automation. A smart building, and it's now
big old target.
Useless.
Big old target. And super expensive to replace, I'm sure. But one of the other comments in here, and I'm kind of just going off the notes that I've gotten here, but one of the other comments in here is that the building automation is generally not done by the security or information technology or security teams. It's generally done by engineering or facilities. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they tracked the insertion point to here was on a wireless access point that had been installed when the building was under construction and never removed.
Oops.
Yeah. Here's the quote. The victims believe the attackers got in via an IP gateway that had been temporarily installed in the construction phase of the building. The IP gateway was supposed to be removed after handing over the building, Panholzer notes, but it was forgotten and never deactivated. So, anyway.
Okay.
Oh, there's so much that can go wrong here. Hospitals, tall, skyscrapers.
Yeah, every bit of automation that makes your life easier also can make your life harder.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my second article. At the most part here. There's been a surge of attacks, but they don't know why. There was another comment in here. The BAS systems aren't configured with any logging functions, so the attackers don't leave behind any digital footprints per se. So there's no ransom notes or signs of ransomware. It's unclear what the end game of the attacks is. So it did say they've set up a honeypot to see if they can lure the attackers into going after a phony building, vulnerable system to try and gather intel. But TBD. So I suspect we'll hear more about KNX in the next 6 months. It's my guess.
Yeah. I'm sure this will be follow-up-y at some point.
Exactly. All right. How about something fun? What'd you bring me fun tonight?
So my something fun I saw a while ago, and just now I'm getting to it because it reminded me of one of my. I have a favorite movie I like to quote, but this one is the "Life Finds a Way" quote. This one is actually kind of cool. It's an NPR article, and the title is "Living Robots Made in a Lab Have Found a New Way to Self-Replicate," researchers say. So this is all about an organic robot that was created in a lab from frog cells has discovered a way to replicate that's new.
This isn't how any horror movie ever starts.
Exactly. So anyway, so it was kind of a cool article about what this could do if you could figure out how to program these cells, these self-replicating cells, to do useful functions. So far, all they do is collect things. So they kind of spin in a corkscrew fashion, and which collects stuff because it's kind of basically making a circle. Anyways, so these Xenobots are made from cells from a frog. They aren't genetically modified. They're just pulled together, and they start doing things. So as the cells collected together, they just started making copies of themselves. So not splitting apart or whatever. They have called it kinematic self-replication, is what they've dubbed it. So, and it happens at the molecular level, and they say we are not aware of any organism that reproduces or replicates in this way. So there's a little YouTube video if you want to watch how it does it. And anyways, I just thought it was a fun article. Hey, we've got some stuff. It even includes a chunk about the ethical concerns that are implied here. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park Chaos Theory in the form of a Duke University professor says, anytime we try to harness life, we should recognize its potential to go really poorly.
Really poorly.
Thank you, Nita Farhani from Duke University, who studies ethics in new technologies, made that comment. And I'm like, yeah, probably. So there you go. There's my something fun. Self-replicating organic robots. They're coming to get you.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of reading the article here, but this
fun idea.
I'll have to watch the video separately. Huh. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. My something fun this week is also semi-biological in nature. This is the notion that you can devise a vaccine to cope with opioid addiction. And when I first saw this, I went ahead. I threw the link in our Slack, and then I didn't actually read the whole article until earlier today. But the and it reminded me later down in the article. It reminded me that I do remember hearing people trying this for things like nicotine and other drugs,
other addictives to get your body off of addictive.
Well, the notion would be that if we can do a vaccine to harness your immune system to attack the chemicals before the chemicals actually can make their way to the parts of the body that they're that they have the most effect. So in opioid cases, I think those go to the brain. And so the quote here is that opioids continue to ravage large swaths of the United States. Buffeted by social isolation, financial pressures, and limited mental health resources during the coronavirus disease 2019 pandemic, addiction and its ill effects have only worsened in the past year. More than 100,000 people died from drug overdose between April 2020 and the end of April 2021, a roughly 30% increase in deaths compared with the previous year, and an all-time high for the number of overdose deaths recorded in the United States. About 3/4 of those deaths resulted from synthetic opioid abuse. Brutal.
Yeah.
So the notion is that since few treatments are available, basically there's ways to try and wean them off with opioids, kind of synthetic opioids that don't cause a high or lead to an overdose. And then it says naltrexone is an opioid antagonist that blocks the opioid receptors, but that those aren't really long-term treatments. Mm-hmm. So this is this is far enough along that it's in human studies.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. It says it's right now the first vaccine against opioid painkillers is working its way through early clinical trials at the New York State Psychiatric Institute. But that the NIH has been channeling funds into opioid vaccine research since 2018 through the HEAL initiative, helping to end addiction long term. That's not bad. And that, let's see, what does it say? The infusion of grants has brought a much needed boost to the field, and increasing attention to vaccines from the pandemic, as well as interest in lab engineered monoclonal antibodies, has buoyed the notion of vaccinating against addiction, perhaps making it a viable option in the foreseeable future. The final thing I kind of pulled out of here that I thought was cool was that, let's see, they're also looking, so there was a couple of, different strategies talked about being employed in this article, at least. The other one is leveraging monoclonal antibodies that it says have a big advantage over vaccine-produced antibodies. They work right away rather than in weeks or months. And so there's another group of researchers that are trying to use the monoclonal antibodies specifically for fentanyl and possibly heroin addiction. So, and there was a bunch more information in the article about how the immune system's actually not good at fighting small particles, and that the general opioids are smaller than the human immune system is optimized for targeting and stuff like that. But anyway, I just thought this was really cool, and I think that I'm excited to think about the things that are going to be available in the next, 10, 20 years, medicinally speaking.
Yeah. Especially with the success of the COVID vaccine.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I'll be curious to see what kind of things what kind of medical problems we can solve using our own bodies.
It's amazing. It's totally amazing. Those mRNA vaccines are awesome. Mm-hmm. So, all right, my friend, we call it a show.
Let's do that.
All right.
Have a good night, John.
Last one for 2021. So happy New Year. I'll talk to you.
Oh, that's
next
right.
year.
It is.
See you next year. We're recording this on the 30th. So
yeah,
tomorrow's the last day of the year. All right. I'll talk to you later, Eric.
Yeah. See ya. Bye.